I'm a ride operator at a theme park. There's one roller coaster we're never allowed to operate. I've always been obsessed with roller coasters. There's something about the way they defy death, rush you to the brink where anything can go wrong, yet somehow everyone returns safe, at least most of the time, right? I work at a small theme park that you've probably heard about in the news recently. I've been a ride operator there for the past few months, but there's one roller coaster that no passengers are allowed to ride. It's called the Ultimate. I see them test running it all the time. One day I asked my coworker Markisha when they were going to open it. Never, she said. I asked again. She shrugged. Boss says the Ultimate has got some sort of bug. A couple months later, Markisha and I started casually dating. She's nerdy, snarky, and we both share a passion for roller coasters. The Ultimate still wasn't open, and one afternoon she suggested we ride it ourselves after the park closed. Wait, for real? I asked. Yeah, last time it got safety checked, it passed all the checks. Plus, I saw someone on it yesterday when it was running. There's literally nothing wrong with it. I think it's just superstition the boss won't open it. He's convinced it'll go wrong. Like the first time, he says. The idea of some dangerous flaw gave me pause. But Markisha was as knowledgeable as I was about theme park deaths. We'd often discuss whether new fatalities fit into our top 10 list. Mechanical failures are obviously big. Design failures, like the water slide that decapitated a 10-year-old boy. Human errors. We'd argue whether to count visitors who trespass in fenced areas and get hit by mechanical parts. The Ultimate didn't have any mechanical issues or design flaws, so in theory, it should be safe. It had recently been tested and passed with flying colors. It ran smoother than our flagship roller coaster, the Cobra. Neither Markisha nor I had health issues. The design wasn't extraordinary either, just one giant loop and a smaller one. Despite the name, it was actually less intense than the Cobra. The coolest thing was its jet black design with sinuous curves like a serpent. Markisha, her friend Carlos, and I agreed to meet after the park closed to try the Ultimate. When I met Carlos at the main entrance, we walked toward those ominous black loops and saw the coaster running as Markisha put it through one more test. Either another employee or a test dummy was in it as it shot by. It was very fast, definitely the fastest in the park. Dude, that thing is awesome, Carlos exclaimed. When we reached the entrance, Markisha told me everything checked out fine and that she and Carlos would go first. I started to object, but she said, nah, I get first dibs. I'll run it for you again after. Let's do this, Carlos shouted. I performed the safety checks, tugging their harnesses to make sure they were strapped in. The rest of the train was empty. Come on, let's go, Markisha hooted. I pressed the button and sent them on their way. The coaster began, both passengers shouting and waving as it slowly ascended to the park's most precipitous drop. I watched, trying not to feel envious. I'd get my turn, but I burned with desire to go first. I watched that sleek black train climb to the very top, hang for a moment at the peak, and drop like a bullet. Screams from my friends as they plunged, hands up, laughter on their faces as they flashed by. Then they were looping. I lost sight of them from the operator area, so I came out and looked up. They were heading toward the second loop, but oddly, there was another passenger somewhere at the back of the train. But I could have sworn it was empty when they boarded. As they spiraled into the second loop, I waited for renewed screams and laughter, but the roller coaster looped silently, winding on this hypnotic track, then taking the big slow circle back to the start. Not a sound from it. The click-clack of the train's arrival and the hiss of brakes. At the front, I could see Markisha and Carlos slumped in their seats. No one else in the train with them, and no movement from either of them. I didn't immediately go to unbuckle them. I was too shocked. Why weren't they moving? Were they unconscious? Had they hit their heads, been jostled too hard? But the ride looked so smooth. Suddenly another infamous roller coaster came to mind, one that had been designed but never constructed. The euthanasia coaster. The idea is that 24 riders board and pass through 7 loops, and when the ride stops, they're all dead. The loops become tighter, the G-forces inducing prolonged cerebral hypoxia, insufficient oxygen to the brain. Riders would pass out and be dead before the end. I always found the concept horrible. Markisha always said it would be a terrific way to die. I still didn't have courage to approach them. Another staff member was walking by, pushing a drinks cart. I screamed for help. She came up, went to the roller coaster, swore, then got on the phone. Emergency services arrived and unstrapped Markisha and Carlos. The next day, the park opened as normal. The incident didn't make news until much later, since there were no traumatized crowds or blood or cleanup, just 2 bodies quietly carried away and a roller coaster that remained out of commission, as it always had been. I'm haunted that mine was the hand that pushed the button, but the Ultimate was examined and all test runs with dummies proved safe. There's no explanation. The ride remains closed due to the bug Markisha mentioned. The bug has become an urban myth among staff. They test the coaster occasionally, running it with nobody on it. They never put anybody on it, but I learned later that the bug isn't a design flaw. What the boss calls the bug is actually a passenger, a rider that can always be seen in one of the seats near the back, even when the coaster runs empty. A passenger who always appears after the first loop. At least it used to be a single passenger. Now there are 3.